I sent my own sister to jail on Christmas Eve, and if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change a single thing. Let me tell you why family blood doesn't give anyone a free pass to destroy your life, and why setting a hard boundary is the ultimate form of self-respect. My name is Mary Westbrook. I'm 28 years old, and for as long as I can remember, the holidays were supposed to be my safe haven. The smell of roasted turkey, cinnamon candles, the glow of string lights, it was the one time of year I let myself truly relax. But the Christmas of 2024 changed my life forever. It was the year my house stopped smelling like cinnamon and started smelling like absolute betrayal. If you're listening to this, chances are you've been the responsible one in your family. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're the one who never asks for help, the one who fixes the problems, the one who absorbs the stress so everyone else can breathe easy. Growing up in a quiet suburb in Ohio, that role was basically stitched into my DNA. While my friends were out partying in their early 20s, making mistakes and living carefree, I was working double shifts. I was studying late into the night. I drove a beat-up, failing Honda Civic that rattled when I hit 60 miles an hour, and I skipped vacations just so I could build a foundation for myself. And it worked. I landed a solid job as a marketing coordinator. It wasn't a millionaire salary, but it was honest, steady money. More importantly, it allowed me to build a savings account that I treated like my absolute lifeline, $15,000. To some people, that might just be a number on a screen, but to me, that 15 grand was blood, sweat, and tears. It was my future car. It was my emergency fund. It was the physical proof that I was independent, secure, and untouchable. Then there was my younger sister, Chloe. If I was the anchor, Chloe was the tornado. She quit every job she ever had within a couple of months, always with a new excuse. The manager was too mean, the hours were too early, the work was too boring. She lived her life bouncing from one self-created crisis to the next, leaving a trail of financial wreckage behind her. And who was always there to sweep it up? Our parents. My mother, Barbara, was Chloe's ultimate defender. "She's just highly sensitive, Mary," my mom would say. "She's still finding her path." That excuse worked when Chloe was 18. It was completely pathetic now that she was 25. If I ever struggled, my parents' advice was always the same. Work harder, Mary. Be practical. But when Chloe blew her rent money on a luxury handbag or a spontaneous trip, suddenly the family checkbook flew open. The double standard burned like salt in an open wound. But I kept my mouth shut. I accepted my role. I just wanted peace. So when Christmas rolled around, I decided to host dinner at my place. It was the home I had just started paying a mortgage on. I wanted my parents to see what I had built. I wanted them to sit at my dining table, eat the food I bought with my hard-earned money, and finally, for once in my life, look at me with genuine pride. By 2 p.m., my house was glowing. My parents arrived with pies and wine. They praised the decorations. My dad joked around. For a fleeting, beautiful moment, I felt seen. Then, the front door swung open, and the energy in the room instantly plummeted. In walked Chloe, late as always, clinging to the arm of her boyfriend, Derek. Derek was 30, constantly between opportunities, which is just a fancy word for completely unmotivated, and he had this slick, dodging smile that instantly put my stomach in knots. Dinner started off beautifully. The turkey was perfectly carved, the laughter was warm, and I was soaking in the holiday spirit. But as I passed the mashed potatoes, I noticed something. A silent conversation was happening right at my table. Chloe and my mom kept exchanging these rapid, nervous glances. Derek's eyes were glued to his phone under the table, his leg bouncing restlessly. Suddenly, Chloe leaned forward and looked at me. "Hey, Mary, do you use the mobile app for your bank, or do you do everything on your laptop?" I paused, my fork halfway to my mouth. "Why do you ask?" "Oh, no reason," she smiled, a little too quickly. "I'm just thinking of switching banks, wondering if yours has good security." My mom immediately chimed in. "She's trying to be more responsible with her finances, Mary. Isn't that wonderful?" It felt incredibly rehearsed, like a terrible community theater play. I brushed it off, but my gut was screaming at me. Later in the evening, after we moved to the living room, Chloe casually mentioned her phone was completely dead. "Hey," she asked, "can I just run up to your room and borrow your laptop for a second? I wanted to show Mom those photos from my trip, and I need a bigger screen." I didn't think twice. "Sure, it's on my desk. It's already awake." She vanished upstairs. 15 minutes passed. That is entirely too long to load an online photo album. When she finally came back down, her entire posture had changed. Her shoulders were relaxed. She gave Derek a subtle nod, and suddenly he looked like he could finally breathe. They hastily showed a few pictures, made some quick excuses, and abruptly announced they had to leave. Before walking out the door, Chloe pulled me into a long hug. "Thank you, Mary. Seriously, thank you." After they left, the house grew dead quiet. My parents were dozing on the couch, warm with holiday leftovers. I cleaned up the kitchen, poured myself a fresh cup of coffee, and sat in my favorite armchair. It was the end of the month, which meant it was time for my favorite ritual, checking my savings account. I opened my laptop. It was right where I left it. I logged into my bank portal, ready to admire that $15,000 safety net. The checking account loaded first. It looked normal, about $800 left after all the holiday shopping. Then my eyes moved to the savings tab. My breath completely stopped. My chest locked up so tight I thought I was having a heart attack. Balance, $0.00. I blinked. I refreshed the page. I logged out and logged back in. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. I grabbed my phone and opened the mobile app. Balance, $0.00. Panic swallowed me whole. I clicked on recent transactions. Right there, staring back at me like a venomous snake, was a completed transfer. Amount, $15,000. Time, 3:17 p.m. Recipient, Chloe Thompson. My own sister. While I was downstairs carving the turkey, serving her food, and trying to build a family memory, she was sitting at my desk, draining every single drop of my life's work. My passwords had been auto-saved on my personal network. She didn't just steal my money. She stole my trust, my security, and my dignity. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. An icy, absolute clarity washed over me. I stood up, walked into the living room, and stood in front of my parents. I held my phone up, the screen glowing with the transaction history. $15,000, I said, my voice dead and flat. Gone. Transferred directly to Chloe's account, while she was upstairs. My dad sat up, rubbing his eyes. What are you talking about, Mary?" My mom didn't look shocked. She didn't gasp. Instead, she folded her arms and sighed. "Don't get dramatic, Mary. Chloe and Derek just needed some help." The room started spinning. "I stole from me," I yelled, the anger finally cracking through. "She committed a federal crime while I served her dinner." "She didn't steal," her voice rising to match mine. "You have a great job. You have savings. Chloe and Derek are really struggling right now. Family helps family, Mary. You've always been so selfish with your money." Selfish. The word hit me like a physical punch to the jaw. I spent 3 years denying myself every luxury just to feel safe, and I was the selfish one? I looked at my dad, begging him with my eyes to step in. "Dad, tell me this is insane. Tell her this is a crime." He looked at the floor. "Mary, maybe we can just work out a payment plan with her. We don't want to cause a scene." That was the exact moment the blinders fell off. I wasn't their daughter. I was their insurance policy. I was the financial sponge meant to absorb the messes of their golden child. I pulled my phone back, opened my dialer, and typed 911. "She transfers it back in the next 60 seconds or I hit send," I said, my voice shaking with rage. "You would not dare," my mom hissed. "You will destroy this family." I looked her dead in the eye. "This family is already destroyed." I hit call. While the phone rang, I put it on speaker. I called Chloe. She answered, loud music blaring in the background. "Hey sis, what's up?" You have exactly 1 minute to reverse that $15,000 transfer before the police pull up to your apartment, I said. The music in the background suddenly stopped. Derek's panicked voice echoed in the back. Mary, wait, it's not what you think. Chloe stammered. It's a loan. I swear I'll pay you back. Derek got into some bad gambling debts. Dangerous people, Mary. We needed it by tomorrow or he was dead meat. So you decided to sacrifice my life to save his? I snapped. Before she could cry another crocodile tear, the 911 dispatcher answered. I didn't hesitate. I gave them Chloe's full name, her address, and reported a felony wire fraud and identity theft. My mom tried to rip the phone out of my hand, screaming that I was ruining her sister's life. No, Mom, I said smoothly. Chloe ruined her own life the second she hit transfer. Within 20 minutes, 2 police cruisers were in my driveway. I handed over the timestamps, the IP logs from my router, and the bank statements. The evidence was irrefutable. Unauthorized access to a computer system and wire fraud over $10,000 are serious felonies. That night, my sister was escorted out of her apartment in handcuffs, the red and blue sirens painting the neighborhood walls. My parents left my house in tears, refusing to speak to me, acting as though I was the villain for refusing to be a victim. The court process was exhausting. Relatives crawled out of the woodwork to call me a traitor. They begged me to drop the charges, but I held my ground like a fortress. Because here's the brutal truth about life. If you let people sweep their toxic behavior under the rug, you will eventually suffocate in the dust. Faced with massive digital evidence, Chloe had no choice but to take a plea deal. She avoided prison time, but she was hit with a felony record, 3 years of strict probation, and a court-ordered restitution to pay me back every single dime. Derek, of course, vanished the second things got legally complicated. Cowards always run first. It took time, but the bank eventually reversed the fraudulent transfer. My $15,000 was restored. A lot of people ask me, was it worth losing your family over money? And my answer is always the same. I didn't lose my family over money. I lost them over a fundamental lack of respect. I learned a powerful, unbreakable rule that year. Love without respect is not love at all. It is manipulation disguised as affection. You cannot let guilt keep you in a cycle of abuse. Boundaries are not selfish. They are survival. Standing up for yourself doesn't make you cruel. It makes you incredibly strong. Out of the ashes of that Christmas, I built an even better life. I worked harder, got a massive promotion, and finally bought that exact car I had been dreaming of. Every time I grip that steering wheel, I don't feel anger anymore. I feel victory. I am no longer the family safety net. I am a woman who knows her worth, and my worth is completely non-negotiable. If you are listening to this right now and you are constantly being drained by people who claim to love you, hear me loud and clear. Your peace is yours. Your hard work is yours. Do not ever set yourself on fire just to keep someone else warm. Cut the cord, set the boundary, and watch how incredibly fast your life elevates. Have you ever had to draw a strict line with toxic family members? Have you ever chosen your own self-respect over keeping the peace? You are not alone. Please share your story in the comments below. Let's build a community of strength. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because taking your life back, that's the greatest revenge story of all. Keep your head up and never fold.